Okay, we're just about ready to get started. You can keep talking until we do. I just want to let everyone know that if somebody's hiding out in a far corner, you might want to come down and find a seat, and we'll be getting started very shortly.
Do we have a copy of the agenda to know what's coming up next? It would probably be nice.
We didn't plan an entrance.
We can have any sort of march music.
No, not that I'm aware.
Before you get that one.
Thank you very much. How have you been? It's great to see you.
I haven't had a triple.
So are the rules as bad? Really short walk as they were on whatever original walk we had?
I didn't have to speak in the last situation.
Well, they're made up the roadways, but. Right.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, this looks so great. I should have had you wear those things earlier.
Okay, thank you all for being here tonight. My name is Leslie Jensen Inman. I'm one of the co-founders of Center Center. We are so happy to be here, to have our wonderful, amazing students, almost graduates here. They've gone through a really intensive program over the last 2 years. And many of you know this because you have been very big supporters of theirs and of ours. One moment. There we go. I'm a little bit taller than I was earlier when I was in flats. So this has been an incredible journey for all of us. This is our inaugural class. We call them a cohort of students. They've been going through this program for a full 2 years together. And they have worked incredibly hard, have made us incredibly proud. And I'll probably keep most of my remarks pretty short because I'm at the point of feeling the gravity of this week, today, and on Sunday when they graduate. So just a little bit of logistics. If anyone needs to use a restroom, they're back that way. You might be hearing kids playing because a bunch of us have kids and we decided that we'd like them to be here and part of this big day. And so just be careful not to walk on Legos or little fingers, and those driving cars do hold up to 200 pounds. So if you can get a kid off of the one, you're welcome to go back there and try it. Jared and I will both be speaking a little bit. You're gonna hear the majority of tonight's presentations from the students themselves, and they're gonna let you know what they've been doing here the last 2 years, because they are the most intimately involved and know all the things that they've been doing. We will then have some acknowledgements. We'll have a couple of guest speakers who have been incredible supporters of ours. And then we will have a bit of ceremony and with some pinning with the students to show that this transition is happening. And then we'll welcome you to come and talk with the students more. Feel free to offer them jobs. That's totally okay and welcome. But you better get to them quickly because many of them have many good offers on the table already, and interviews, multiple interviews. This is working out exactly as we hoped. They have learned an incredible amount. So to take it from here, I'd like to introduce Jared Spool. He's the other co-founder of Center. And I will say that he is the best business partner you could ever want in a person. And we often joke that we don't have really great friends because no one told us not to start a school. It turns out starting a school is pretty much one of the hardest things you could ever do. And the state of Tennessee is wonderfully responsible about making sure that everything you do serves your students well, which makes a lot of paperwork, a lot of responsibility. And having a partner in Jared to see all of this through in the last few years has been incredible. And so without further ado, Jared Spool.
Thank you. So the school that you are sitting in has been home to a program for user experience design. And user experience design is best explained in terms of what it's not. If you've ever used a computer program or a phone app or a parking machine or something that has frustrated the heck out of you, that's bad user experience design. What we do is train the students on good user experience design, which is how to make those things either invisible or delightful, whichever they're supposed to be. You don't really want to spend a lot of time thinking about the parking machine. You want to get from the car to your appointment very quickly. So the idea is to make that as seamless and easy as possible. And to make things invisible, it takes a lot of work. So that's what the program here is about. And it's a 24-month program. It's, I think I figured out that it's 760 days. And it is intense. The students here have been working very hard. The idea for this program started about 6 years ago when Leslie and I, we'd known each other, but we actually didn't know we were both working on this at the same time. And we were talking to friends, and the friends were suggesting, you know, they're working on this too. And we started talking, we realized that independently, we had come up with the same basic idea, the same nutshell of a program. And we had these very long conversations for days, talking about every little detail of what this program would be like. And then we went through the process of trying to figure out how to build it and raising some money. We had a Kickstarter program, and we had a bunch of other activities. And what's amazing is the program that is here today, the one that the students are about to share with you, is almost exactly the program that we imagined. It hasn't changed much at all. And I was having a conversation a few years back and telling them the effort that we were going through about putting this together. And they said, well, how do you know it's going to work? And we just sort of knew. And what's been amazing is the students have exceeded our expectations. That's not just me as sort of proud school dad saying that. this is actually what we're hearing from the companies that the students have been doing work for over the last few months. The way the program works is every 3 weeks, industry experts come in. We have several of them here with us tonight. Come in and start every class off with a detailed understanding of what the industry is like. And then our faculty, Jess and Thomas, take over and they continue the education. And those industry experts were always amazed at the students, where they were and what they could do, even when at the beginning of their studies. So this has been really a fantastic cohort of students. It will always be our favorites. And I just want to thank them for putting up with us for 2 years as we were figuring a lot of this out. I don't remember which one said it, but one of them said it on the very first day of class when they realized what we were doing. They're saying, we're going to get to actually define what this school is going to be forever. And they were right. They helped us really understand what this program was going to be. And so now what I want to do is turn it over to the students. We're going to start with Shane, and they're going to tell you what this school was all about.
Thank you.
Oh, of course you do. I just like
Hello,
to take it
everyone.
with me.
Thank you. Thanks, Jared. Wow. Hello, everyone. Golly, geez, it's a full house tonight. I really want to thank everyone, and as well as everyone else does, for everyone coming out and showing your support for us in the school. It really does mean a lot to each and every one of us, and the school has been great. And let me introduce who we have up here tonight. These lovely folks. I have Glad Beltran, Randall Flam, Brenda Hoyle, Ellen Nance, and Jonas Healy. And as Jared said, my name is Shane Reed. And all right, good night. So, as you're probably wondering, and for those who might not be too familiar with what we've been doing here for the past 2 years, since we started back in October of 2016, is we've been learning all the skills that are necessary to be well-rounded, industry-ready user experience designers. And so how we did this is we covered 24 core courses over the past 2 years, and as well as special topics that they introduced at the end of school to make sure that we are ready for companies going into the industry. And so some of the skills that we actually learn here are how to conduct user research. And so what we do is we go out and we talk to people who use products and try to understand their needs behind it. And as well as we learn visual design skills. So how do you actually lay out wireframes that are not only visually pleasing, but as well as accessible to the audience we design them for. We even learn interpersonal skills, like how to facilitate good meetings so that they run on time and end on time. And we also learn how to present our work with confidence. We even go as far as to actually learn advanced techniques, like Dr. Tucker here taught us the characteristics of a good leader, and as well as we learned from Jared, the business of UX. So how do you actually communicate user experience to senior management and CEOs? And so we cover all of these courses throughout the 2 years, and we start with the very basics at the beginning, and then we move towards more advanced techniques, building on top of one another. And what I found is that this education is very unique to how Center runs, and what else is unique about it is actually how they grade our performance.
Center is different from our past education because instead of waiting an entire semester for a final grade, we're assessed based on what we accomplish. To succeed, we had to learn to take in information quickly and to adapt based on our individual learning styles, as well as real-world project constraints. And more often than not, we all took our own path towards achieving the same goal. For example, in our leadership course, we learned that one of the qualities of a good leader is the ability to be able to rise to the occasion. So Brenda and Randall during one of our real world client projects, led the team through different phases of our project. And Jonas, he earned his requirements for leadership by leading design activities that moved the project forward.
As Gladys said, we're different than a traditional education and talked about those requirements. Those are called competencies. Our education is competency-based. You can think of it like a Boy Scout merit badge. Here's a list of achievements, show that you can do those things, and then you're able to pass the course. The competencies come from our co-founders, Jared and Leslie, from our facilitators, Thomas and Jess, and from the guest industry expert. And these competencies are created right up until the start of the course, so the material that we're getting was always very current. What you'll see if you walk out to the front up here, we call it the treehouse area, is a list of our competencies as well as sticky notes for each teammate as they have worked on completing those competencies. So for example, for our ethnographic research course, which is about going out into a place where someone already is and watching how they use a product, you'll see that Ella has done things like create a plan for a field guide, receive feedback and iterated on that guide after getting feedback from teammates, and then actually going out and conducting the field research. So all of those things are part of achievements for the field guide competency, which is part of the ethnographic research course. And what you'll see out there, those are our proficient level of competencies.
And we have 4 levels of learning here at Center Center. The first level is called developing, and that is the things that we learn from the workshops and the book knowledge that we get from all the books in the library or other resources online as we learn through each course and through the program. The second level of learning is called emerging, and that is when we put into practice the things that we learned with practice projects that we might make up. They might be real, they might not be. The third level of learning, as Randall mentioned, is called proficient, and that is when we work with real clients on real work projects with real budgets, real constraints, and real problems, really. The fourth level of learning is called distinguished, and that is when we go above and beyond what Center Center has taught us here in the past 2 years. For example, my teammate Glad facilitated a sketching workshop called the Design Studio. My teammate Shane, he went above and beyond, and he looked into how to do a kind of retrospective all on his own. Those are the 4 levels of learning which we have learned throughout our 2 years here at Center Center.
The past 2 years have been very intense. The space that we're in now, this whole floor, we've been here for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. So we are working 40-hour weeks since the beginning. We have our courses that are in 3 weeks. So every 3 weeks, we're learning a new topic. The beginning of that course begins with a workshop that's taught by industry experts. So these are the people that are teaching at conferences. They're writing the books. They're the ones that companies are bringing into their organization to help them transform their business. So a third of our time has been spent learning from them, learning the foundations and how to be able to apply those to our individual practice projects. The remaining time we spend on client projects. So one example of a workshop and some of the things we learned from Steve Portugal and Dana Chisnell. We learned how to put together a research plan, go out and speak to people that are using products to find out how they're using it and how we can make it better. For Kim Goodwin, we learned how to translate what we learned in our research into stories and scenarios that we can use to drive our designs and the design process forward. And from Mike Montero, we learned how to present that to clients and other people who have a stake, who are invested in the project going well, being able to present that information back to them in a way that they understand and that it makes sense.
The second and third weeks of those 3-week courses are involved working on projects with external design leaders, software developers, project managers and internal stakeholders working on those real world projects, solving real problems for real businesses. After an internally focused project where we worked with UIE's software developers to create a UX learning tool for internal use, we embedded with Marquette's Office of Marketing and Marquette's Office of Marketing and Communications to redesign the homepage of their internal marketing agency for the university. Over the course of several months, we created a design where we, it's a really late in the day. This is really the worst time of day to be doing this. So we embedded with to redesign the home of the university's internal marketing agency. Over the course of several months, we interviewed their internal customers and team members, created interactive prototypes, and streamlined the experience for expert and novice users, iterating and testing until we delivered a design that was so well received and so well presented by Ella that Randall was asked to present the design again to Marquette's dean and executive staff when that was requested. Up next, we worked with Applied Technical Systems, creating a documentation site for a software developer learning tool. This project was particularly challenging in that one, none of us are professional software developers, making the domain knowledge fairly difficult to acquire. And two, given the sensitivity of ATS's client list, we weren't given any of the content with which to design, aside from some thin marketing copy. However, we powered through a short timeline to interview a great number of working developers on their learning patterns, as well as a number of internal subject matter experts to create a documentation site for a framework that doesn't yet exist. A challenging and rewarding project, to say the least, especially because it reflected the kind of problem that UX designers face every day in the workplace. And that puts us to today where each of us are putting the final touches on our portfolios, talking with companies that are interested in working with each of us and figuring out the next step for our careers. And with that, that's just been a little overview of our experience here at Center Center. Once again, please welcome Leslie.
Thank you so much. The students, as you heard, they have accomplished an incredible amount. Of course, 40 hours a week for 2 years straight will allow you to be able to dive deep in that way. And as Jonah said, that it's been a long, awesome journey, and it is late for us in the way, and we haven't let them ease up at all in the last final weeks. Most of them have been, well, all of them have been working on residency work, which is not quite an internship, more like contract work. And they've been embedded in different companies, and they've just returned from these residencies from as far away as Austin to as close as Chattanooga. And we actually have, I think, some of the hiring managers, I think I've seen some here. We're going to thank you, but thank you already. And the work that they did at their residencies, ask them about that, because they didn't have a chance to talk about it right now. Ask them how they stepped up. Ask them what they did when a manager went on medical leave, or their kitchen pipe broke, and all of a sudden the students were being the leader. That's the kind of things that they were faced with, and they really rose to the occasion.
Yeah, there's a couple things that the students didn't make known that I sort of thought. So they mentioned that they were asked to give a talk or to repeat their findings to the executive team at Marquette University. If you know anything about university politics, you don't present anything to the executive team unless you're absolutely sure it's going to make you look good. So when the head of the marketing communications department said, "Hey, could you tell my bosses about this?" we were blown away, because it was a good presentation, but they were really impressed with the quality. And I was a little proud that Marquette doesn't have a design school, but we do. So that was pretty awesome. The project that Jonas talked about where they didn't have all the materials, this was a project that they were doing for a military contractor. The materials are all classified information, so they couldn't do the project with the actual work. So they scrambled to actually create something that was so close to what the actual work would look like that it was completely exactly what the team wanted. And the company, ATS, has told us that they will happily work with our students again. Yes. So we're very proud. And every one of these students has done amazing things that go above and beyond what either of us really expected from them. So
and we had really high expectations.
Right. So there are a few people that we would like to thank to make this possible. We had an amazing group of financial support partners. Benwood Foundation for sure. They just have been our coaches and champions from the beginning. MailChimp, the great folks at Northrop Grumman. Capital One has been really helpful to us. PayPal. We could not have done this without the help of True Ventures. James Spool, my father, decided that this was better than giving me an inheritance. It works. I'll take it. And all of our Kickstarter, we had 135 Kickstarter donors.
That's $135,000.
$135,000 worth of
1,555 Kickstarter.
Yeah,
donors.
that's 1,500. Yeah, the stickers that when you come in and it says "Go Awesomeness," all the names there are the supporters that we've had over the years, starting with the Kickstarter founders, and then we've had hundreds of people give to our Give Forward student loan, which is what paid for the students to be able to come through.
Yes. So thank you all, and I know there's some representatives here today. So thank you. Without your help, we wouldn't be here today. And that's, yes, thank you. We've also had amazing success partners, people and organizations that have really helped us and opened up doors, made connections. And those are the Chattanooga Neighborhood Enterprise CNE is a local nonprofit, and they actually run our student loan fund. And they've done an amazing job with that. Socially You, who has helped us in so many different ways to have a really great presence. And the Chamber of Commerce, thank you. we have people that have just, again, so the Chamber is our landlord. We're in their building, and they are the best landlords because they really want you to succeed, not only so that you pay rent, but because it's good for Chattanooga, and they know everybody. So it's a wonderful, it's been fantastic. And I know at first they were wondering, are we gonna show up in flip-flops? No, we're not that kind of school. We're professionals here. And as you can see, the students, they understand that. Chattanooga Tech Council, thank you. We've had such amazing support with innovation and technology, with all the different people there, including our board and our executive director who's here today, Carla, thank you. And also just the Innovation District in general. It's been a wonderful place to be in, we use the word innovation and throw it around because it's such a wonderful buzzword, but in Chattanooga, we do things right, and we are really working to be inclusive in our innovation, and we are so happy to be able to be a part of that.
The students did residencies. And we want to shout out to the residency companies and the contacts there. So the Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee, Jack Cara, ATS, that was the defense contractor, Derek Gessen, Home Depot, Paul Stonek, Simple Focus, Patrick McNeely, and McMillan, Alicia Nachman. All of those companies on faith and in a record amount of time took our students in and yes, put them to work, did not let up on them. And as a result, the students got a chance to shine in a way that they wouldn't have otherwise. We also want to reach out a big thanks to the folks at Marquette University Office of Marketing and Communications. we will help them someday get their own design program. But until then, we're happy to be their designers. The folks at ATS who gave us the original project, and the really exciting Chattanooga Velocity 2040 project that's undergoing, which we have a chance to work on, which is just lovely.
Yes. We'd also like to thank the City of Chattanooga and the Mayor's Office. It's really interesting when you have a mayor that understands what UX is and can understand why there's Post-it notes all over the wall. And we just saw him at the Velocity 2040 media event the other day. And if you haven't checked it out, check out velocity2040.com. We're very proud of our work with that project and with the Chamber and a bunch of other amazing leaders in Chattanooga. And he asked me, so your students, they're graduating. He knows they're graduating, but Mayor knows this stuff. And he's like, so some of them staying here? Yes, some of them are. So he said, well, that's important. So he's very happy. Also, the Hamilton County and the Mayor's Office there have been extremely supportive. And we really couldn't have done it also without the help of Regions Bank, who's very forward thinking and thinks very differently than many banks do.
Yeah. So, actually, it's your turn.
I guess it's my turn again. So we'd, well, you know, there's another thing. So we have a couple of guest industry experts here today, and I'd just like to say thank you to Dana Chisnell for helping. You've helped beyond everything, and even helped us with the Velocity 2040 project. Whenever our students have a question, they've been our industry experts. With students have had about 24, have kept the lines of communication open over the last 2 years. And also Dr. Jim Tucker, who is not only an amazing leader and has taught our students and many other people what is to really be a leader. He's also one of my mentors and somebody, if it wasn't for Dr. Tucker, I wouldn't have been able to help in the ways that I've helped with the school. So thank you. Some other people that we just couldn't have done this without are our amazing staff, right? So we have an amazing, amazing team. And let's see, Jess Evans, if you can stand up and just say, she's one of our facilitators. She's incredible. What makes our program so unique is that the facilitators have been with the students each for the whole full 2 years. So they've seen the learning trajectory from the very beginning and have built these wonderful relationships. And our other facilitator, who's incredibly wonderful as well, is Thomas Michaud. And you can stand up to Thomas. And then Summer Colhorst, who's over here. Summer pretty,
Summer is the living embodiment of the word factotum.
Yes.
She does all the things and she does everything well.
And never complains. It's incredible. So thank you all. And also Alice Jensen, aka my mom. She's back there. Thank you, Alice. And this is as staff and not as family. Alice has been incredible. Pretty much every piece of furniture you're either sitting on or have seen, she has gone and found and driven trucks and stuff and brought them here. So you never know. And she's negotiated all the things so that we can keep the school where we need to keep it for the students. And so we also have more people that aren't here today.
Right. We have an office in outside of Boston. If you draw a circle 54 million miles in diameter, in the middle of the circle you write the word nowhere. You get right to North Andover, Massachusetts, center of nowhere, is where our other office is. And there we have Adam Churchill, Lee and Donna Fowler, plus we have our amazing interns. We've had a whole lot of them in the years that we've been running this, but a few are Mike, Nelson, Mark, Spencer, Jonathan, Miguel, Terry, and Christine. And all of them, we could not have made this program work without all of their support.
Yes. So, and then the other, on a very personal note, Jared and I would not be able to probably have stayed sane, stayed focused without the help of our families. And we do have some of our family members here tonight. My dad, Norman Jensen, thank you. My dad is the person that says, if you think you know it all and you have nothing else to learn, you might as well be dead, because that's the whole point of life. Right? So that's, learning is the point of life, and that's what we're here. So I think that's great. And Alice, this time in mom mode, we're very good at keeping things separate. In mom mode, I think she has helped me have a big sounding board. She's also an educator and has really helped me understand what it is to be, to provide people the education that they need and that they deserve, and in a compassionate, humane way, and that really meets each learner where they are and builds upon their learning. So thank you, Mom. And then also my husband, Sean Inman, he's back there, and I don't even have the words. We just celebrated 19 years anniversary together. So thank you. And without his help, this week probably wouldn't have happened, because he has been in full dad mode. We have a 2-year-old son named Lincoln. He's back there. Feel free to say hi. He'll talk your ear off. And then, of course, thank you, Jared, because you're your chosen family.
Thank you. And I would like to thank my wife, Dana, who has been tremendous support throughout this. So we were dating when I started this project, and she's somehow still married. And has been just complete support throughout. So would not have happened at all. She's been an incredible advisor and just perfect partner. And I could not have done this without Leslie.
Thank you. So before Jared and I break down completely,
Fortunately, we have other people to talk right now.
this is it. And one of those people is Cheryl Millsaps, who's with the Chamber of Commerce. And I will say, Cheryl is one of the people that so believed in everything. Talk about a person, if it wasn't for Cheryl, we really, literally, we wouldn't be in this building. We wouldn't be here tonight. And she has been a great resource and a friend and a great supporter. And she's going to give us some words. Thank you.
Nothing like following two people who have just almost had an emotional breakdown right now.
Thank you.
Congratulations first to the staff. Anyone who has not been involved in this for the last 5 or 6 years does not appreciate the road that these people have traveled to get to this point where you graduates can be finishing your 2-year projects. It did not start 2 years ago. I can promise you that. The Chattanooga Chamber owns this building, and yes, we are your landlord, and we're delighted when you pay rent. But I can tell you that we have been cheerleaders, we have been supporters, we've been encouragers in this endeavor for at least the last 5 years. When Leslie first approached me about this idea and they were looking for space. And because of what the chamber is involved in and because of the work that we have been doing, I immediately latched on to this as just such a good partnership for the chamber, for what we do, a partnership for downtown, and a partnership that we could provide some of the resources that would help make these guys' lives easier as they made this journey. In those early days, Leslie and Jared both, I met with them and they pitched this concept of a user experience design school. I didn't really know exactly what that was, but they used the example of when you go to your ATM and it doesn't work and you want to kick the ATM because it's not working and doing what you want to do. That resonated with me. So their idea was to build this thing in the heart of the downtown business district, which once again, was not only good for them, it was good for us, and it was good for downtown. So you have to understand, this was before the Innovation District. And it was before Chattanooga was getting recognition every week or so in one magazine or another as the coolest new place to launch a new technology startup. And so it was also before they realized that they had to apply to the Tennessee Higher Education Commission to be an institution of higher education in the state of Tennessee, which was the first of many hurdles that we had to help overcome, but it was a hurdle, trust me. And pursuing that certification was, it was quite the honor, and we were proud to be able to reach out and make some contacts to elected officials and write some letters to the Tennessee, to THEC, we affectionately called it THEC. And so we were able to help make that happen, and that was one of the first things that we had to overcome. Now, Leslie referred to the flip-flops a while ago. I remember that conversation differently. I remember sitting down in the final negotiations for the lease for this space, and one of her questions was, okay, so now the chamber has this kind of buttoned up, pale, male, and stale. She didn't say that.
I might have.
We knew what she was talking about. This very traditional sort of reputation, and we are in a former bank building. When you came in and you saw all the stone and all that, we do have this very traditional appearance. And she said, you know, our students are non-traditional students, and they're going to come in, they may wear jeans, and they may wear flip-flops. There was a mention of flip-flops. They may wear flip-flops, they might ride a bus, or a bike and want to come here, and they're going to be in and out at weird hours. So is that going to be a problem for you guys? And I was like, are you kidding? We're going to have the cool kids. So for the past 15 years, the chamber has had a focus on growing jobs for this community. Stable, family wage jobs for the citizens of Hamilton County. Over the past 10 years, that focus has shifted a little bit, and most of those jobs have been in technology-driven industry sectors, kind of starting with Volkswagen and moving forward into all of that entailed. In the last 5 years, we've become increasingly sensitive to the challenges that our local employers face in recruiting and retaining good talent, particularly talent in the technology space. In the last year, that has ramped up on steroids because we have a new CEO, and she firmly believes, and it has shown itself to be true, that one of the largest challenges facing this community, and probably most communities, but specifically this community, in the future, in the next 20 years, is going to be the availability of good talent. It's already to a point where employers have this insatiable need for people who are able to take their academic learning and translate that immediately into being able to come into a workplace and be effective on the job. And there is no model for that is any better than the kind of experiential learning model that Jared and Leslie have put in place here, where students are not only learning academics and sound fundamentals of leadership, but they're also learning to work with employers. They're learning what those real life projects are. And that's something that is a tremendously valuable commodity going forward. The hard work that has gone in here with these guys that have gone through these 2 years, I just really celebrate you and congratulate you on what you've accomplished. And I want you to know that it has prepared you well for what the next step is in your journey. Your future is bright. You have a world of opportunity ahead of you. But tonight, it's all about celebrating. It's all about enjoying your accomplishments. And then you go home and you get a really good night's sleep, because when you wake up in the morning, you just have to know that's the next step of the journey. The journey doesn't end here. Every ending is a new beginning. And this is where it starts, guys. Celebrate.
Thank you, Cheryl. That's so true. And this, our students are lifelong learners, so I fully expect them to, I'm hoping they'll take a little break, like a day, 2 hours.
Monday's a holiday.
Monday's a holiday for many people, so maybe they'll take that. Knowing them, they probably won't. They're hard workers and they're lifelong learners. Thank you, Cheryl. And next is someone else who's been an incredible advocate for us and someone who has supported us in many different ways. And I don't even know how to describe you, Katie. So this is Katie Paul. And she has helped our students have connections, has helped us connect with different organizations and just been a complete champion of ours. And so please come up here and have a few words too, because I'm getting at a loss. It's just so nice that you're here.
So my first encounter, can y'all hear me? Because this is
Let's
kind of really short.
Let me tilt it
video.
down.
Can you do that?
Yes.
Thank you. So my first encounter with the Center was the discovery of the Unicorn Institute on Kickstarter in early 2014, I think. 13? Was it 13? Okay, it's longer ago than I thought. But I was sitting there and I was reading the description and I was blown away by the possibilities. I mean, I could just imagine them. And like many people in UX, I'm self-taught. I rely on an ever-growing library of books and a lot of Google searching to figure it out as I go. But there on Kickstarter, I was reading about a group of people that were creating the UX program of my dreams, and I wanted to be a part of it if I could. The best part was it was close and in one of my favorite places, Chattanooga. So their plan was based on research. They turned the UX lens back on the industry itself and uncovered the gaps, identified the skills that hiring managers needed for their UX teams. They built their curriculum from scratch, focusing on project work, like everyone's talked about, really helping the students learn on the job, which is, I mean, that's how we really become UX practitioners, regardless of the degree that you hold or the path that led you to the field. And the facilitators would guide students through real projects with real impact, exposing them to all of the frustrations and constraints that we deal with every day. Since we love to create new versions of the UX process, diagrams that appear to be somewhat simple and somewhat linear on paper, UX is messy. It's never that clean. Most projects only appear to be a straight path towards the inevitable solution when viewed looking backward from the finish line. So I knew that the idea for the Unicorn Institute was something different. It was big, it was really exciting, and it was a wonderful idea. I love what we do as UX practitioners because our field is all about the possibilities. It's grounded in the belief that the world can be better than it is today and that it should be. We don't have to accept the status quo just because someone tells us that that's the way it's always been done. But this isn't blind optimism. We look directly at the problems that we face, identifying and addressing them head on. Our work causes us to recognize the many unintentional inconveniences and irritating obstacles like the ATM that doesn't work. All of those that exist all around us, but it also lets us see them as the opportunities and possibilities they represent. It isn't always easy. In fact, it rarely is, but I think maybe that's why we do it. So in the last 4 years, I guess 5, because I didn't know when the Kickstarter was. In the last 5 years since that Kickstarter discovery, I've been able to watch as this exciting possibility of the Unicorn Institute became the reality of the Center. The Herculean effort put in by everyone involved with the school was matched by the dedication and determination of the first cohort of students. Seeing your commitment to the program and to one another was a wonderful and timely reminder that cynicism isn't a requirement for success, that there's still a place for the earnest optimism of believing in those possibilities for those who are brave enough to take the leap. So for all of this, I thank you. Thank you for believing in the possibilities of the Unicorn Institute and working to improve the way we learn with the Center. Thank you for letting me be a part of the journey and to share in celebrating today.
This has been a real group effort from community members, from all of you here, from supporters, and the leap of faith and the optimism. People that we really need to thank are our students to come to a program that was completely new, based on hope, based on wanting to take their skills to the next level and realizing that a really intense program was for them. We started with 6 students, we're finishing with 6 students. That's amazing. And the amount of work, and they've had all kinds of, real life stuff happening during this time. And for them to accomplish everything they've done with such grace, with such kindness, with such humility, it's just been an incredible honor for myself, and I know Jared feels the same. And so thank you. Let's give you all a round of applause. And now for a little bit of ceremony, we are going to pin the students. Well, we're going to pin their stoles because pinning them would be mean. And I'll ask Justin Thomas to come up here too, and we're going to have our guests as well. And this is how we're sort of symbolizing that you are transitioning from students to incredible workers. And this is, the start, as Cheryl mentioned, of something magnificent, the start of your career. It's the next step. And so I'll invite Justin Thomas up at this time.
Can the graduates please stand?
Please stand. Here we go.
Thank you, Spec.
It is a unicorn. You should take a look at the pins. They're very fun.
This is like a nice scroll.
It's a magnet. And now you are U.S.
I feel like I'm at church. It's a Jewish boy, I don't get there that often. So I'd like to talk a little bit about the future. The way this program started was that we were able to, we always knew, starting this way back when, that it would take us a while to get to the point where the program had all the proper papers and accreditations to be able to qualify for government-backed student loans. So we knew that we weren't going to be able to get there. What we didn't know was that when we started, the funding for private student loans was, after the loan crisis, going to be not as prevalent as it had once been. And so one of the things that caused us a delay in starting was getting funding. And these students patiently waited for months while we struggled to raise the money. And in July of 2016, we were able to nail down funding and fund the first student loan. And the student loan is called the Give Forward student loan. It's a magical type of student loan. It's not like any other that you've heard of, in that The money is completely funded by donations. The students have borrowed that money with the promise that they'll have plenty of time and we'll give them all the necessary support. But our goal was to get them a fantastic job at a fantastic salary that would make it easy for them to pay that back. When they pay that loan back, the money doesn't come to us. The interest doesn't come to us. There's a little bit of interest, enough to cover the cost of the loan and inflation. Money goes back into the fund. The fund was originally created by donations. The fund for these students was $600,000 worth of donations. And that money that they will pay back will go back so that other students can go forward. So we call it the Give Forward Student Loan Fund. And we have come to learn that part of this job is continual fundraising. So if you feel that you might be interested in helping our next cohort, and I'd like to say that we would like to start our next cohort at the very beginning of the year, so we have a few months to raise the money. And we would like that cohort to be 12 students. If you want to help us with that, we would love your help. You can go to the centercenter.com website. There's a nice, pretty donate button, and press that, put some money in the fund. That would help us out tremendously, even if it's just $5, because what we're doing is helping these students and future students. We particularly look for folks who would not be able to afford a program like this. Give them the training they need to get a career that will change their life, will change their families' lives, put them on a vector that's very different. That's what we're looking to do. And that's our charter for the next few months, to get that second cohort started with 12 students, so that in the beginning of 2019, we can launch another one of these and keep us on the path. So that's what I need to say on that. And I've left my script over there, so I don't know what's next.
I think that was it.
That was it.
So if you wanna donate, you definitely will get your name up on the wall of awesomeness. And again, even $5 would be super appreciated. And since many of you are local, or if you ever come back and you want your picture with your name up there, we're totally happy to do that. Lots of selfies happen at that wall.
Give enough money, we'll name a room after you.
That's for sure.
Starting with the supply closet.
It's a bat cave. I don't know what yet. So we're at the part of our program where we get to stop talking, to at least up here, and we get to all start talking together. And so I really would like to invite all of you to come and meet, if you haven't met, or talk with the students.
The graduates.
Well, they're almost okay, the near graduates on Sunday is
Graduates
their,
to be.
yeah, they're so close.
Yes.
They're all their coursework's not.
Don't screw it up, kids.
Don't do anything in the next 48 hours. Yep. And
Would it be appropriate for me to make a comment?
It's always appropriate.
Absolutely.
Dr. Tucker. Here.
Here, we might.
We have an audience at home.
I may not need that. Chattanooga is called the Bridge City sometimes, because there are all these bridges. For me, it's an incredibly valuable thing that Center was started in Chattanooga, because it is a bridge. What you're seeing here, in my opinion, now I hold an endowed chair in the old system. This is the new system. You're seeing the future of higher education, in my opinion. And I am so proud to be in the same town and know these people and watch this happen.
We are very fortunate to have so many people believe so passionately in this, and seeing that this is an excellent way to learn and an excellent way to transition from learner to too professional, right? And they've been professional, they've acted professional this whole time. Now let's go send them out into the world and let's have them change things for the better. Have them really focus on users' needs and making experiences more delightful, experiences less frustrating, helping us all have a little bit of a better world. And so, yes, we expect a lot from you all, and you all have proven that you will be able to go out and make awesomeness and do good. So thank you all, and now let's go talk and celebrate.